Good evening, everybody. My name's Tom Stoukas, coming to you live from Sarnia, Ontario, on May the 6th. May the 6th. A lot happening today. A lot happened today. The big highlight of the day was Mark Carney's first official meeting as Prime Minister with Donald Trump in the Oval Office. And a lot of people had watching this. Is similar to the Zelensky meeting earlier, where they had all the vice president, the secretary of state, all the reporters in there. So there was potential for some drama between Trump and Carney. So it could have, like, obviously, I think the bottom line is he didn't get Zelensky'd, where, like, he didn't get kicked out of the White House like Zelensky, or he didn't walk out of the White House. So they kind of kept it civil enough for their first meeting. And I mean, compared to the way he treated Trudeau, it was a lot more respectful. I mean, it's Trump, so you're not going to get whatever. But Carney, it wasn't a disaster for Carney, I guess. So, I mean, what are you going to do? You're in Trump's Oval Office. You just got to sit there and kind of listen to the guy. You can't really out-talk him. Like, it's not even worth trying. So we'll see some video of that. It was funny. One of the main things was he made sure to slag Trudeau one last time, kick his ass out the door one last time, and then he had some love for Chrystia Freeland. Said some nasty things about her. She is a nasty woman. And Carney, who's, I believe, his godfather to one of her kids, had to sit there and take it, which is funny. I like that. But it is what it is. It's just a meeting, first meeting. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more meetings, a lot more issues to discuss. Either way, I mean, like I said, he didn't get Zelensky, so, and he was a lot more respect. He even did a video about Carney coming, like a White House video. It was quite nice, produced, and I don't ever remember him Trump doing a video for Trudeau. No, he hated Trudeau with a passion. Like, Trudeau must have done something to piss him off. Like, we'll find out in a book someday the exact thing, or maybe he's just being Trudeau. But I know he did something. He talked about him behind his back or something. Anyway, he didn't like Trudeau, and he obviously doesn't mind Carney compared to Trudeau. So whatever. He don't like Pierre either. Something pissed him off about Pierre. Pierre pissed him off about something. So yeah. Speaking of Pierre, he was in Ottawa today for his caucus meeting, first post-election caucus meeting. Yeah. And he didn't really say much, and you didn't really hear much. Sorry. He didn't say much, and you didn't hear much from the Conservatives, like, about discontent about the election results, and that. It was kind of all unified for a first meeting, which is, of course, like, that's fine. Like, just because there's not, like, clamoring for a new leader on the first caucus meeting doesn't mean he's safe. You know, he's still got a lot of work to do to shore up his position. Not only that, he's got to worry about, Carney doing well as Prime Minister, like, in the eyes of Canadian voters, but he's got to watch his own flank and his party, like Doug Ford and the other guys who all can't really stand him, it seems. So he's got all his work cut out for him. But he was in Ottawa today. He wasn't saying much, but he was just glad-handing with the people. He does have to win an election after all. So I guess he can't sound too presumptuous that he's got that by-election in the bag. He's got to walk a line there. I guess Andrew Scheer is going to be the leader while he's in limbo. So Andrew Scheer gets his old job back for a little bit. But the one thing I notice about Pierre is that the wife of his, what the hell, man? She's there every time I see her. Like the last month. Holy shit. The last month of the campaign, it seems like she's there in every shot. And it's weird. It's weird. I know if you've ever worked with a spouse, it's always you're always playing with a bit of fire there, especially in politics. It'd be kind of weird, and I just think it's weird. She's there all the time. She was there at the caucus meeting. She's there everywhere, and it's like, how would you like it if you're at work? You work every day, and your wife's there all the time with you. Like, that'd be weird. So it's like, does he need emotional support that much? I don't know. I think it's weird. Like, she was at the caucus meeting today. Like, why is she going to the caucus meeting? I guess to show her support for him. Like, I mean, if he would have won, if we would have become prime minister and he was going to the Oval Office today instead of Mark Carney, would he bring her with him? Would she be on the couch sitting between him and Trump? So that's kind of weird. Got to keep an eye on that. It's a kind of a flag for me. She's always smiling and all that. I don't trust her. I just don't. And then I guess Rogan was saying he's not impressed with Pierre, and I guess he was on his show, he was talking with a guest, and I guess they were somehow talked about Canada. I guess Pierre had a chance or invite to go on Rogan. And his handlers didn't want to do it. They thought it would be, I guess the quote, problematic for Pierre to go on Rogan. And, the question is, would Pierre do a 3-hour sit down for millions of viewers without any talking points or slogans? Like, that's the question for me. It sounds like no, but yeah, he could have went on Rogan, and you could argue, okay, he would have had to fly down to Texas for the day, and it would have, cut into his campaign time. Yeah, but he could have done a couple other podcasts. Well, he could have made a whole quick tour, and he could have said, you know what, we're in this position with the U.S. It's important that we get our message out, not to a wider audience. He could have justified it, but he was too much of a coward. He didn't want to be looked at as like an American puppet or associated with controversial podcasters or this or that. He was a coward. Simple. And he lost the election. But I said before that we're heading into an era, especially with the boomers heading down, is the podcast election, whereas the people will expect a candidate to hit the podcast circuit, like it'll be expected, and they will view you with mistrust if you don't. Now in Canada, the last elections with the province of Ontario and the federal election, we still are dominated by a chunk of boomers that, are probably on their last election. Like, they probably got one more left in them. But after that, it's going to be podcasts. But even with this election, Pierre ran a very guarded, kind of cowardly campaign where he feuded with the media the whole time. because he didn't, nothing worse you could do to the media than tell them you can't go past the line here, and you can't, you're caging them up like an animal. The last thing fighting with them, if you don't have to fight with them, you shouldn't. Like Trump, he jumped right in there. He didn't hide from any of them, and so even if he didn't do Rogan, he still acted in a very media managed, hyper managed way that really came off as cowardly. So it's not just whether he should have done Rogan. It's just the whole attitude of his campaign was like he was hiding something, right? Like Trump, you can accuse Trump of a lot of things, but hiding some things ain't one any of them. Like the guy never hid. Like he would go to the most hostile venues. He would answer unscripted questions from the most adversarial reporters. He didn't care, And Pierre is afraid to get a question or go on a podcast because the guy might have had a controversial guest on in one of his other episodes. It's called a coward. Sorry, and that's why Trump was successful with his campaign, is because he didn't care. He was himself. For all his faults and all his strengths, he was himself, and he didn't act like a coward. And even Carney, to some extent, like he doesn't hide his globalist credentials. He loves them. But Pierre, I don't know what the guy stands for. I don't. And even some people are starting to, like, there's the cult-like devotion to him from these conservative influencers, but even like some of them are cracking. Like Rupa has been critical of him a little. Like she still supports him, but Rupa Subrahima, whatever the hell her name is, and sorry Rupa, I can't say your name. Daniel Boardman too. I saw him tonight. I knew he had a bit of a brain. Calling out Pierre's campaign. So not all the conservative supporters are like rainbow lollipops, because that's the only way you're going to grow and win, when you accept loss and failure a bit, responsibility. And then, so that was Pierre's thing. So I don't know. And then you got Doug Ford and breathing down his neck, and who knows who else. And now he's going into this riding with the separatism thing dominating in Alberta. It sounds like it's the number one issue. From what I've seen, it's a major issue. So he's going into by-election. He's just hoping they don't ask any questions. He's just going to hope that by-election goes quick. And then you got Doug Ford now. Doug Ford today, all giddy after the Carney meeting, saying he thinks it went well, but at the same time, the dummy, he's slagging Trump, saying he's going to get killed at the midterms and this and that, and how he's being a dummy and all that. And he very well might be a dummy, but as the premier of Canada's biggest province, you might not want to be saying that at the very time Carney's meeting with him, because Trump likes to take things personally. But whatever. It's not Doug Ford's job. Doug Ford ain't going to lose any money over his comments. It's poor Joe Lunchbox over in Windsor car plant. Have to listen. We'll pay the consequences for Doug's fat mouth. And now I guess he's getting in a fight with Danielle Smith because he's bitching about Danielle Smith and the way she's going about dealing with the discontent in her province. And he's basically calling her out, saying, oh, we need to be united, and some of us aren't united. And Danielle Smith's firing back, saying, mind your own business, Doug. So, not only Doug's trashing Donald Trump, he's trashed Pierre Poilievre, and now he's trashing, getting into feuding with Danielle Smith. So it's like, wow, it's like he loves working with liberals and he fights with all conservatives. So something, except when election time comes, Doug Ford's a conservative. I don't know. So that's the day today. See, I don't have no hope. I think we're in big trouble with these guys. Oh, and another thing is, and this affects Canada because of our population, but India and Pakistan apparently, from what I've seen in the news, have been firing missiles at each other today, just now. So, yeah, they've always, every few years they get tempered flares, and everybody thinks, oh, is this going to be the time they fight, like nuclear bombs? And then the things settle down. Usually, sometimes the Americans come in and do some diplomacy, and things settle down, and everybody's all okay. And then every 10 years or so, so this is kind of one of those times, like India and Pakistan, every 10 years. And this time they're saying, oh, is this going to be different? Or is it going to end up diplomatically? Or is this going to be the time, the one where the bombs start flying, and it's going to be like 2 billion fried up Indians and Pakistanis? That'd be nuts. The world would be totally changed if that happened. If they nuked each other. Hopefully they don't. But if they have a prolonged war, we're screwed. Because I was thinking, maybe the patriotic Indians will get on the plane and go fight for India. No, it'll probably happen the other ways. We'll have all the refugees. We'll have like 100 million refugees coming here, which would totally screw us. So yeah, will the Tim Hortons stay open? But the thing is, you never know what's going to happen with those people. You never know. Hopefully they don't nuke each other. But we're keeping an eye on that. And it would be crazy. Like, the world would be so screwed up if that happened. Like, how would you react to that? You couldn't. You'd have to just... It's one of those things you wouldn't know until it happened. Really. It'd be like the end. Nobody would want to work. They'd say, fuck that. Why go to work? Okay. Enough doomsday talk. I don't think... I'm going to put my 2 cents in. I think cooler heads will prevail. I think. Because they know. They're not stupid, are they? They know how that ends, but it could happen. But I think cooler heads will prevail. All right. So, let's go through the daily happenings today. Obviously, the big news is the Trump meeting with Carney. Lots of clips of those. All right. All right. First post. Okay. Pierre makes the first post of the day. Pierre Poilievre will not be your savior. So yeah, he's always filmed with Indians. Even today at his caucus meeting, I have the video. They will show. As soon as he comes out of Parliament, he's like runs in a whole group of Indian MPs. So it just the optics for him, it always looks like he's surrounded by Indians. All right, next post. Just want to stay. I saw this video. It's why is this staying on there? Okay, there. Okay, sorry. Yeah, this Uber driver, the trial, this guy got in, where is that, New York or something? Yeah. Anyway. Jeremy McKenzie, what would the official language of Alberta be? Or Punjabi or Arabic? Yes. Yes, Alberta. Alberta's got a different, interesting situation, just like Ontario, kind of, but smaller scale. They got Edmonton and Calgary are like very turning into like little ethnic enclaves. Even both mayors are like Indians, and then you have the rural areas, and which is generally the conservative areas. So it's like if Alberta, like the independence is more from those areas. So it's a weird situation in Alberta. That's probably what he's referring to. Okay. And I saw this post here. We're talking about Danielle Smith. She's being a lot in the news now that the election's over. Canada may be the only country in the world where secession is lawful if conducted lawfully. Yes, we are a polite bunch here. Which is weird. Like, I never thought Alberta, I always knew Quebec wanted like referendums. I never thought Alberta would be on the cusp of one. But people are, my 2 cents is people are freaking out about Danielle Smith's announcement yesterday, but Alberta is just following the Quebec blueprint, which uses the legitimate threat of separation from Canada to get more favorable terms from the federal government. It's worked pretty good for Quebec so far over these years. It has. They always say, they always have that threat hanging over the head. Oh, we're going to call a referendum. We're going to call a referendum. And it motivated the government to engage them to the point where they haven't had a referendum in a while. So Alberta's saying, well, if Quebec can do it, we'll do the same. Like, she's saying that's, doesn't want to support independence, but she wants a better deal for Quebec, for Alberta, just like Quebec. That's all she's doing. Alberta politics, very interesting. And then there's Pierre today in Ottawa after the caucus meeting. Oh, ahead of the caucus meeting. Let's see what he says here.
Obviously, we didn't went back to work at caucus today after the most recent election. Obviously, we didn't come out on top, and that's disappointing. But there is a lot to be thankful for. We've massively expanded our party, 2.3 million votes, 25 more seats. Big
He's still saying the talking
British
points.
Columbia, some more modest gains in Quebec. A very powerful and re-energized conservative coalition led by young people, workers, new immigrants, entrepreneurs, big breakthroughs in manufacturing communities across the country. We're very thankful for that and very excited by the fact that we've been leading the charge on and leading the debate in this country, whether on the carbon tax, inflation, housing costs, crime, drugs. It's been conservatives who've been leading and winning the debates, but there's more to do. We have to.
Oh, so that's him ahead of the caucus meeting. The next post here, Kyle Kemper. Is this another reason why they rushed the election? He's talking about Mike Myers being named in the Diddy Combe sex trafficking trial. Yeah, it is weird. And it's convenient how Mike Myers' name didn't come up until after the election. But maybe it was just convenient, just coincidence, you know. Okay. All right. Here's some video of the Carney meeting. This is him coming into the White House.
Mr. President, your message to Canada, sir. Your message to Canada as you meet the new Prime Minister, sir. Do you think the Fed will cut interest rates tomorrow?
Do you like being a man?
Yes.
You do like being a man, but
So that's him coming in. All good. And here's some clips. Carney actually doing what Trump loves and respects in this clip, praising him. Yeah. Like I said, Carney was kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you get an argument with Trump in front of the cameras, you're going to lose. If you're too timid, you're going to look weak. So he tried his best to kind of like, I guess, not get an argument, but not look like a total wimp. But it was interesting. I mean, he made it out without getting kicked out like Zelensky. So I think based on that, that's a win. That's a win.
Arctic and developing the Arctic, and thank you for your hospitality and above all for your leadership. You're a transformational president, focus on the economy with a relentless focus on the American worker, securing your borders, ending the scourge of fentanyl and other opioids, and securing the world. And I've been elected with my colleagues here. With the help of my colleagues here, I'm going to spread the credit to transform Canada with a similar focus on the economy, securing our borders, again on fentanyl, much greater focus on defense and security, securing the Arctic and developing the Arctic. And the history of Canada and the U.S. is we're stronger when we work together, and there's many opportunities to work together. And I look forward to addressing some of those issues that we have, but also finding those areas of mutual cooperation.
So definitely treated him better than Trudeau. I guess that's a win. All right. Next one. Oh, God. We got some more Brampton men. This week in Brampton, Brampton men charged in alleged extortion. The Singh boys. So, 3 Brampton men have been charged with extortion after allegedly threatening a local business owner. The case began when shots were fired at a business near Queen Street and Kennedy Road South on April 30th. Although no one was injured, the victim later received demands for money. Those Singh boys always getting up to mischief. Again. Oh, wait till if they go to war in India. Oh my God, we're gonna have like 10 million refugees. The fight from Amritsar will be packed. I saw this today too. Carney was like, "Oh God, I got to sit here and listen to this," and he knew he had to. He knew he was going to basically. He had to listen to it. You're in his office. You got to do it. Let's listen.
As we speak, we really don't want Canadian. We want to make our own cars. We don't really want cars from Canada. And we put tariffs on cars from Canada, and at a certain point, it won't make economic sense for Canada to build those cars. And we don't want steel from Canada because we're making our own steel, and we're having massive steel plants being built right now as we speak. We really don't want Canadian steel, and we don't want Canadian aluminum and various other things because we want to be able to do it ourselves. And we, because of, past thinking of people, we have a tremendous deficit with Canada. In other words, they have a surplus with us. And there's no reason for us to be subsidizing Canada. Canada's a place that will have to be able to take care of itself economically. I assume they can. I will tell you that Trudeau, when I spoke to him, I used to call him Governor Trudeau.
Oh.
I think that probably didn't help his election. But when I spoke to him, I said, so why are we taking your cars? Why are we taking we want to make them ourselves. I mean, I said, and if the price of your cars went up, or if we put a tariff on your cars of 25%, what would that mean to you? He said, that would mean the end of Canada. He actually said that to me. And I said,
Look at poor Carney,
that's a
he's rolling
strange
his
answer,
eyes.
but
Oh.
I understand his answer. But no, I mean, it's hard to justify subsidizing Canada to the tune of maybe $200 billion a year. We protect Canada
Now
militarily,
Carney's trying
and we
to-
always will. We're going to, that's not a money thing. But we always will. But, it's not fair. But why are we subsidizing Canada $200 billion a year, or whatever the number might be? It's a very substantial number.
Carney. He's just being
And it's hard
polite.
for the American taxpayer to say, gee whiz,
He didn't want to pull a Zelensky
we
and
want to make our own.
get kicked out of there. What you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, really.
For
Here's
what
another
fact?
one. Oh, he's
No,
talking
not-
about. This
no.
is what he's talking about. Chrystia Freeland now. This is hilarious.
For what fact? No, it's fine. It's there. It's good. We use it for certain
He's
things.
talking about the
It's
free
there.
trade deal.
We have the USMCA is a good deal for everybody. I won't say this about Mark, but I didn't like his predecessor. I didn't like a person
really
that worked.
didn't like
She was
Trudeau.
terrible, actually. She was a terrible person. And she really hurt that deal very badly because she tried to take advantage of the deal and she didn't get away with it. You know what I'm talking about.
Chrystia.
But, so, we had a bad relationship having to do with the fact that we disagreed with the way they viewed the deal. And we ended it. We ended that relationship pretty much. Trudeau, when I spoke to him, I used to call him Governor Trudeau. I think that probably didn't help his election. But when I spoke to him, I said, so why are we taking your cars? Why are we taking we want to make them ourselves. I mean, I said,
okay,
and
we saw this.
if the
So yeah, he really don't like Freeland, but poor Carney had to sit there. Yeah. He had to take his Carney had to take his medicine. All right. Let's see what Carney says here this is after the Oval Office meeting.
Canadians are offended and deep. I heard you say, there is a difference between the president's comments around Canada becoming a 51st state as a wish versus a reality. You told him that Canada was not for sale. But many Canadians are offended and deeply angered by the fact that he keeps repeating this comment. So have you asked the president to stop calling Canada the 51st state?
Yes. Today.
Okay, specifically, what did you ask him?
Exactly what you just said.
But what words did you use? How did you ask him?
Look, I gave you an answer. Do you have a follow-up?
No. What was his answer?
Well, we'll look. I don't know. He's the president. He's his own person. I would go back to showing the difference between a wish and a reality. We're very clear. I've been very clear publicly, consistently. I've been very clear in private. It was clear again in the Oval Office. Would be clear throughout. The president, he understands that we're having a negotiation between sovereign nations and that we will only pursue and accept a deal that's in the best interests of Canada, not just in the short term, but in the medium and long term for Canada.
You brought a book.
So yeah,
I heard you say.
I mean, like I said, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. But he came out of it. He didn't come out with a fight, and he wasn't humiliated. Maybe a little, just a tweak. So overall, he survived it without, I guess Zelensky is the new standard of not surviving the Oval Office. So overall, he didn't do too bad, I guess. It's basically the start of a negotiation. This is what that is. he didn't get Zelensky. It could have been a lot worse. So, yeah, the fact that he didn't get Zelensky, it'll be interesting to see what the polls show, because of after this first meeting with Trump, the polls in Canada. And speaking of polls, we got Pierre. This is him, where Rogan reveals just now, today, in his latest episode, that Pierre turned down an invite to the show. Let's see what he says.
Not to do it.
Hey, it kind of reminds me of what happened in Canada with the truckers.
Yes.
I mean, they froze their bank accounts.
Yeah.
Or people who donated to them.
Yeah. People who donated to them got their bank accounts frozen.
How insane.
Insane. And then that same party just won again. Good job, Canada.
Oh, my God. If they didn't have good bear hunting, I would never go there.
I do have to say, I offered to have that Pierre guy come on the podcast.
Really?
He didn't do it. Wouldn't do it. Thought it was too problematic. Or whatever. Jordan told me, I forget what he said, but they were telling him not to do it. Like his advisors were telling him not to do it. Hey, dumbass.
If they can't talk to you.
So there you go. There, right from the horse's mouth, Joe Rogan saying Pierre didn't want to go on the show because it was problematic. So, you could say, it didn't fit in his schedule, but it was not just, like I said, it wasn't just Rogan. It was any media exposure he didn't want that he couldn't control. And people don't like that. They don't they think you have something to hide if you act like that. So it'll be always debated now, should he have gone on Rogan? And my opinion is the guy's is the number one podcaster in the world, so probably should go on Rogan. But I guess I'm not the political strategist for the Conservative Party of Canada. All right. I saw this article. Body language expert says Trump showed respect in meeting with Carney. Compared to what Trudeau he did, he actually compared to Trudeau. All right. Next one. Some conservative reaction to Rogan saying he offered Pierre to come on the podcast, but his team said no. Kirk Lubomov. I've said it before and I'll say it again. All the CPC inner circle jerk needs to be thrown out. Yeah, I mean, they lost the election, and they're going to basically keep the same team together. But I think the grumbling is going to grow. I think there's kind of just like a chill out period right now to see where the dust settles. And there's going to be I think the grumbling is going to grow with Pierre. I think it's going to grow. It's already grown in Ontario, but it's going to grow within the Conservative Party, because a lot of his supporters aren't happy with this revelation. I've heard even Plebs taking time off from his vacation to comment saying he's devastated that they didn't let him go. His advisors didn't let him go on. That even sounds worse, because if Pierre was a man and he wanted to go on Rogan, he would say, I'm going on Rogan. If he was a man and he didn't want to go on Rogan, he'd say, I don't want to go on Rogan. Fuck Rogan. But instead, it's his advisors. That tells you all you need to know. But yeah, there's going to be grumbling, I think. He refused. And he could have went on Tucker, too. But, it's like I said, it's not the point that he didn't go on Tucker or he didn't go on Rogan or he didn't go on Patrick Bet-David. The point is his whole campaign was micro media managed. So it looked like he was hiding. He was doing a Kamala where, you couldn't get access to the candidate. You know, they're hiding the candidate, and that's what they were protecting the candidate in bubble wrap, and that's what he did, and it showed. So even if he didn't go on those podcasts, he could have been more open and more accessible, not just to the, you know, the droolers, influencers on in his side, but like actual journalists, you know. But whatever. This is a shot of supposedly of the Pakistan-India. Someone's getting bombed. India started bombing Pakistan. The Battle of the Browns has begun. Let's see.
Byron.
So I don't know what's going on over there. Not a lot of reliable sources, but this has big implications for Canada. See, usually they don't get to the point where they're bombing each other. Like, usually they settle it before it gets to this point. So hopefully they figure it out soon, because it's going to be big problems for Canada too. We're going to have so many, oh my God. Those Indians are going to be coming over here by the boatload. Good thread here by the Vigilant Fox. Even Randy Hillier, like most people say Carney did all right, because let's be honest, compared to Trudeau, he looks like fucking Winston Churchill or whatever, you know what I mean? Like it's compared to Trudeau, he can't get much better, you know, like, so I think that's what he said. Nice to see Carney not relying on immature slogans and sound bites today. No jab at Pierre probably. But this is a good little thread by Vigilant Fox about the art of the deal and how Trump's using the strategy and the art of the deal with the meeting today with Carney. He's got to read the book, I guess. But that's what today was. That was the opening of the deal making, the opening deal, the opening meeting. Okay, next. This is where's this? CNE? Toronto? CNE? Yeah. And people say they're feds, but I'm pretty sure these guys aren't feds. They're just guys that don't want to get doxxed by left-wing lunatics. But eventually there'll be bigger crowds. It's funny how people are freaking out over about 20, 30 guys. They're not doing anything wrong. Those are reasonable demands. And then here's Danielle Smith firing back at Doug Ford, saying, I don't tell him how he should run his province. She dismisses Doug Ford's warning against separatist threats from Alberta. So yeah, Doug Ford's going after everybody except for liberals. Everybody but liberals he'll go after. Now he's going after Danielle. I said fat trader Doug Ford picking up fights with Donald Trump, Pierre Poilievre, and now Danielle Smith. He's totally acting like a liberal, except at election time when he runs as a conservative. Ontario and Canada are screwed with this clown as premier of Canada's largest province. This guy. He's slagging Trump today. Slagging Danielle. Slagging Pierre. What do we have? What's he there for? Ontario's gotten shittier under his rule. So, like, what's he there for? Okay, and this is the video. Pierre's first, look at him. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre hanging with the people that matter the most to him. Such a bad.
Great job, brother.
Look at this. Every time.
Team we have here. Good to see you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations for losing your riding.
How are you?
See you. Great job, brother.
Still haven't gotten my beauty sleep though. How are you?
And then there's
What a team. Holy
Surrounded by Indians,
Good
man.
job here. Good.
And then look at this.
Easy, buddy. Thank you.
What the hell? What the hell is his wife doing there all the time? Like, seriously, she's there everywhere. She was on the cornfield there in Alberta with him the other day. She's with him at the caucus meeting today. Like, where you go to work with him every day? Like, that's weird, man. And I don't like that. I don't trust that. Something's weird about that. She's a little crazy for me. It's too crazy looking. Like, she shouldn't be. Like, does he need the support? It's weird. I'm calling it out. And this post here. How long before the India-Pakistan war hits the streets of Canada? Yeah. I don't think there's many. I think it'll be more in London, England, because they have more Pakistanis there and Indians. Here, I don't think we have as many Pakistanis. Like, there's a few. But I think it'll affect us, and if there's an actual war, we're going to get tons of refugees, and we're going to get screwed. So hopefully there's no war. But as for, like, clashes in the streets, I don't think so. I think it'd be more the Khalistanis. I don't think we have many Pakistanis here. We have a few. All right. Next post. Oh, see Marty up north. He wasn't very happy. Big mistake by Pierre. He wasn't happy about Pierre skipping out on Rogan. So, yeah, a lot of Conservatives are kind of disappointed that he skipped out on Rogan. Big mistake supporting Pierre. Pierre could never talk in an unscripted environment. It's not his fault. He's an actor, memorize sound bites, and get naive patriots to believe he's a legit populist capable of free thought. It is weird. Like, if you noticed, I noticed, and I didn't really notice Pierre until the campaign. This is the first campaign I've seen him in. And I always seen him, you know, in the House of Commons or whatever, but I never noticed it until the campaign where he talks in all slogans. I called it sloganese. Like, literally, he'd just, like, whip off, like, 5 slogans in a row. And they're, like, 3 words each, the slogan. So it's like, bring it home, build the homes, axe attacks, whatever. It's like, you can't go on Rogan for 3 hours and do that shit. You got to actually talk to him. Because you'll be exposed really quick. So maybe that's why I didn't. And there's Rupa Subramanya, yes. She said Carney did a good job. And there's a video of the White House video of Carney visit. Let's watch this. They did a video for him, you know, that's better than, I didn't see no Trudeau video.
Opportunities to work together.
It's a great honor to have Prime Minister Mark Carney with us. A few days ago, he won a very big election in Canada, and I think Canada chose a very talented person, a very good person.
Thank you for your hospitality and, above all, for your leadership. You're a transformational president, and I've been elected to transform Canada with a similar focus on the economy, securing our borders. The history of Canada and the U.S. is we're stronger when we work together, and there's many opportunities to work together. I look forward to finding those areas of mutual cooperation.
So, yeah, you got a video by Donald Trump. Okay. Never made a Trudeau video. And there's the video of... Now, look at Pierre. Look at his wife in this video. We just saw this video, but this time look at his wife. She's rubbing his back. Come on, that's weird. And, like, why is she glad handing the caucus members?
I haven't gotten my beauty sleep though.
My beauty sleep. Oh, she's a narcissist. Sorry. I know that type.
What a team.
Look at her. Why is she there?
Three guilds.
Do you have a moment to comment?
Good answer to this. What makes you?
Look at her.
You don't have like a quick just comment for the conservative voter in Canadian?
We have to unite and move forward. We got a bright future. We're going to defeat this government in the future, and we're going to bring home a bright future for the country.
What makes you the best leader to go forward? I know you have a good answer.
But thank you very much for being out today, guys. All the best.
So okay, look at her.
Let's do it again, buddy.
So she goes.
Good answer to this.
Why is she going into the caucus meeting with him? Or
You don't have
are
like
they
a
leaving the
quick
caucus?
just comment for
Anyway, whatever.
the conservative voter.
It's weird. And I said it. Getting really weird seeing Pierre Poilievre's wife with him everywhere he goes. Like, why is she at the caucus meeting? Does he need emotional support that much? And like I said, can you imagine him at the Oval Office with Trump? Would she'd be like, I'm coming in there with you. And Pierre's like, no, you're not. But look at her. I don't know. The campaign's over, lady. Get back home. All right. So that's a day in Canada politics. So where we go from here? See how this negotiation goes with the states. See if India and Pakistan nuke each other. And see how Pierre's by-election go. He's going to run into a storm of the separatists. How's he going to answer them? He's going to be afraid to even answer them. What do you think about separatism? So, yeah, all that's, we'll see. So until next time, have a nice night. And stay cool.